So the Jabra Elite 4 Active are Jabra's latest entry-level ANC earbuds. Now, even though these earbuds are marketed as a pair of workout earbuds, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people were to consider these earbuds if they're looking at more mainstream options, like either the Galaxy Buds 2 or Beats Studio Buds. So, let's see how the Jabra Elite 4 Active stack up.
Now regarding pricing, the Elite 4s have a retail price of $120. Not bad at all. Whereas both the Beats Studio Buds and Galaxy Buds 2 have a retail price of $150. Still pretty reasonable if you ask me. However, both Apple and Samsung like to put their earbuds on sale for around $130 from time to time, and sometimes even a little less. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Elite 4s go on sale as well. Nonetheless, if you want to pick any of these earbuds up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch shelf down below. I've made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I can be very particular. So I'll only set my name on something that I'm really proud of. Now first, let's adjust these cases because these three cases are very different from one another. Now all of these cases are decently small and they aren't too noticeable when they're in your pocket, making them great for everyday carry earbuds. However, I do have to say that the Elite 4's case is the least noticeable case here because of its shape. This case just slips in and out of your pocket a little easier than the Galaxy Buds 2's case. And then there's the Studio Buds case, which is decently thin, but it does have a rather large footprint. However, the main differentiating factor here about all of these cases is that the Galaxy Buds 2s are the only earbuds here that have wireless charging, whereas both the Studio Buds and Elite 4s only charge via their USB-C ports. So definitely, if you're someone that has a phone that supports power sharing, or if you've already invested in multiple wireless charging mats, you'll want to keep this in mind.
But now let's talk about battery life. The Galaxy Buds 2 have an advertised combined battery life of 29 hours with their active noise cancellation turned off. The earbuds themselves can go for 7.5 straight hours and the case can supply 3 additional charges. But if you were to use these earbuds with their active noise cancellation turned on, they have an advertised combined battery life of 20 hours. The earbuds themselves can go for 5 straight hours and the case can supply those 3 additional charges. Now, the Elite 4s are in the same ballpark when it comes to battery life. They have an advertised combined battery life of 28 hours with their active noise cancellation turned off, and with their active noise cancellation turned off, they have a combined battery life of around 22 hours. And finally, there are the Beats Studio Buds, which do struggle to keep up here a little bit. They have an advertised combined battery life of 24 hours with their active noise cancellation turned off, and with their active noise cancellation turned on, they have an advertised combined battery life of 15 hours. And personally, I do find it a little ironic that even though these earbuds have the largest case here, they have the shortest battery life here. And I also think that it's a little ironic that even though these earbuds have the largest case here, they don't have wireless charging.
But now let's talk about the earbuds themselves. Regarding fit, these earbuds do fit rather differently from one another. Now both the Galaxy Buds 2 and Elite 4s fit like your standard pair of in-ear earbuds, as in they go into your ear canals a decent amount. However, the Elite 4s do go into your ear canal just a little deeper than the Galaxy Buds 2. Whereas the Studio Buds are a pair of shallow fitting in-ear earbuds, so they don't go in as deep as these other two earbuds, which results in a more natural and comfortable fit. Now personally, I do prefer the fit of the Studio Buds here, but since these earbuds are more shallow fitting, they do like to wiggle out the most here. But nonetheless, personally, I would mainly recommend all of these earbuds for casual use. None of these earbuds would be ideal for working out because they all do like to wiggle out, especially when you're jogging.
But now let's talk about connectivity. On all of these earbuds, each earbud establishes a connection with your phone. So if you just want to use one earbud at a time, you can use either one, it doesn't matter. And this is the connection setup that we expect to see on our earbuds nowadays. And this is especially a big deal on the Jabras because it has taken Jabra a while to implement this. However, if you're a Samsung power user, you're going to be able to easily hot swap between all of your Samsung devices thanks to seamless earbud connection. And even if you're not strictly a Samsung power user, switching between devices with the Galaxy Buds 2 is relatively easy. And the Studio Buds are a good option for any power user as well because switching between devices is relatively easy. You don't got to put these earbuds into pairing mode every single time you want to go from one device to another. Whereas with the Jabras, they aren't as seamless. However, when it comes to performance, all of these earbuds have zero latency across the board when watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or an Android device. But when it comes to audio codecs, things get a little interesting here. Now, both the Galaxy Buds 2 and Studio Buds have support for SBC and AAC, pretty standard. Whereas with the Jabras, these earbuds have support for SBC and aptX, which is pretty surprising. So if you're an Android user, you're going to be able to take advantage of aptX with the Jabras.
But now let's talk about actually listening to music with these earbuds. Now both the Galaxy Buds 2 and Studio Buds sound great for entry-level earbuds. Now personally, I think the Galaxy Buds sound best when they're set to their dynamic EQ. Out of the box, these earbuds can sound a little bright. But while in their dynamic EQ, the mids and highs get relaxed a little bit and the bass comes in stronger. But it's very important to keep in mind that you can only use this app if you're using an Android device. The Galaxy Buds 2 don't have an iOS app. But overall, I do prefer how the Studio Buds sound over the Galaxy Buds 2. With the Studio Buds, these earbuds sound more open and their bass resonates much more, leading to a much more dynamic and, simply put, more fun listening experience. Whereas with the Galaxy Buds 2, they just don't sound as open, and even though their bass does resonate a good amount when they're set to their dynamic EQ, it's nowhere near as dramatic as the Studio Buds. But then there are the Elite 4s. Now, these earbuds also aim for a bass-heavy sound signature just like the Studio Buds. But unlike the Studio Buds, the Elite 4s sound very shallow. They sound narrow, and the treble on these earbuds can get distorted at times. Whereas, that isn't an issue with these other two earbuds. So, simply put, the Elite 4s sound good enough to get the job done, but both the Galaxy Buds 2 and Studio Buds are going to sound noticeably better than the Elite 4s. But if you want the best sound quality here, then personally, I would recommend the Studio Buds. Yes, they have a lot of bass, but it is clean, and since there is an adequate amount of emphasis on the mids, the vocals don't get overpowered or shallow. And these earbuds also do a really good job of keeping their treble nice and tight. But now let's talk about the MIDI controls on these earbuds. The Galaxy Buds 2 are the only earbuds here that have touchpads, and these touchpads are fairly accurate and they're easy enough to use. But both the Elite 4s and Studio Buds have physical buttons, and this alone could be a deciding factor for some people, because some people just don't want to use touchpads on their earbuds. However, if you are able to master the touchpads on the Galaxy Buds 2, you're going to be able to do more from your earbuds. Besides being able to skip through your music and toggle through your ANC settings, you will also be able to adjust the volume of your earbuds if you turn on the Tap the Edge feature.
However, I do have to point out that both the Jabras and Studio Buds do not have proximity sensors. So these earbuds are not going to automatically play or pause your music if you take them out of your ears or put them back in. And personally, I do feel that this is a major inconvenience, and I do feel that these earbuds should have proximity sensors, because proximity sensors is a very standard feature for earbuds in this price range. Whereas the Galaxy Buds 2 do have proximity sensors, but these earbuds will only pause your music if you take both earbuds out of your ears. Now personally, I feel that these earbuds should pause your music as soon as you take one earbud out of your ears, but hey, what are you gonna do? But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these earbuds. Now right off the bat, I'm gonna have to say that the ANC on these earbuds doesn't block out as much noise as the big boys, like let's say the Sony WF-1000XM4s, which block out the most amount of noise here, albeit they are at an advantage because of their itchy foam ear tips. Below them are the Jabra Elite 85Ts, which also block out a ton of noise while being more comfortable, so personally I do prefer them. Below them are the AirPods Pro and Sennheiser Momentum 2s, which I feel are neck and neck. Below them are the Jabra Elite 7 Pros. Below them are the Beats Fit Pro. And below them are the Galaxy Buds Pro. Now, below the Galaxy Buds Pro are the Jabra Elite 4s. Below them are the Beats Studio Buds. Below them are the Galaxy Buds 2. And below them are the Sennheiser CX Plus. So overall, Jabra does ANC on their earbuds very well, and the Jabra Elite 4s manage to block out a little more noise than both the Beats Studio Buds and Galaxy Buds 2, but it's not like a huge difference. But overall, if active noise cancellation is very important to you, I still highly recommend the Jabra Elite 85Ts. They block out a ton of noise without getting super itchy like the Sony WF-1000XM4s, and unlike Bose's earbuds, they have a very reasonably sized case. But like I mentioned in the past, I only use the active noise cancellation on my earbuds when I have to, and what's really important to me is the quality of their ambient mode. Now, all of these earbuds have decent sounding ambient modes. They all sound fairly natural with very little hissing in the background. However, I am going to have to say that the Studio Buds have the best performing ambient mode here because it sounds the most natural and it also has the least amount of hissing here. And these earbuds also do the best job here of blocking out wind noise when walking outdoors, which is very important for daily commuters. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, all of these earbuds have decent enough sounding microphones for phone calls while in a quiet room. Now, none of these earbuds are super focused on my voice, like let's say AirPods. But nonetheless, the microphones on all of these earbuds are decent while in a quiet room. However, I do feel the Jabras do the best job here of dealing with ambient noise. Now, even though the Jabras are letting in a noticeable amount of road noise, I feel that you can still hear my voice pretty well. Whereas with the Studio Buds, even though these earbuds are trying to reduce this road noise, my voice sounds very shallow and there's a lot of hissing in the background. And with the Galaxy Buds 2, these earbuds try to reduce this road noise, but my voice ends up sounding very robotic. Now, when it comes to blocking out chatter, these earbuds sound a little better, but my voice still sounds very robotic, and sometimes it can get a little choppy. Then there are the Studio Buds, where my voice still sounds very shallow, but it doesn't sound as choppy. But finally, here are the Jabra Elite 4s. Now, even though this microphone is letting in more ambient noise, you can still hear me pretty well. So personally, I do feel the Jabra Elite 4s have the best performing microphone here because of how they deal with ambient noise. Since this microphone isn't trying to overdo it with the voice isolation, it's still pretty easy to hear you.
But with all that being said, if you're trying to choose between any of these earbuds, then I feel you should stick with either the Beats Studio Buds or Galaxy Buds 2. The Beats Studio Buds have the best sound here because their bass is very strong and clean, but the mids are also well pronounced, so these earbuds don't end up sounding shallow like the Jabras. The Studio Buds are also good options if you're a power user. They also have the best sounding ambient mode here, and they also have the most comfortable fit here. Then there are the Galaxy Buds 2, which have a relatively small case, they have a fairly long battery life, and they're the only ones here with wireless charging. The Galaxy Buds are also the only earbuds here that have touchpads, which allow you to have more control over your music and earbuds from the earbuds themselves. Although, the touchpads aren't 100% accurate, so you will have to put up with some mistakes here and there. But finally, there are the Jabra Elite 4 Active. Overall, these earbuds are decent. They sure did surprise me with their microphone performance. They have a really good battery life and they block out the most amount of noise here. But for me, it is a little hard to recommend these earbuds over these other two earbuds because they aren't the best sounding. They can sound shallow, their bass can get overpowering, and their treble can get tinny at times. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know, I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something that I'm really proud of.